morning, students. Today in this zoology class, we'll discuss about the control and coordination in animal. That means in chapter 7. In chapter 7, here you will be able to see that their control and coordination is present. We'll discuss in the zoology about the control and coordination in animals, plants by botany. So what will happen? But here the chapter is very long. So vast, it means that's why here two parts, session 1 and next session 2, this chapter will be completed. Okay, within these two sessions, session 1 control and coordination and session 2 control and coordination, then this chapter will finish. Okay, so firstly in session 1 control and coordination, we will discuss about the nervous system. That means firstly, what is control and coordination? How control and coordination is maintained in case of animals? So what will happen? Control and coordination means what? Suppose in your from very word to at defined level of stage, you can realize something, you can feel something, yes or no? And what will happen? And growth and development going on, several activities going on in your brain also, thinking, reasoning, everything is going on. How it is possible? Suppose mosquito biting, immediately give the response. A tiger comes, immediately run away. Okay, every time you respond to the environment, how it is possible? Who provides? Okay, it means without control and coordination, you are not able to survive. That is the main sensory, that is the main functions of the control and coordination. Every time you be control, otherwise you face problem also. So everything fear factor, you will immediately become alert. Okay, suppose, so what will happen? That is provided by our body, that you should, what happen? You should give some response to environment, do anything. Okay, you should immediately response provided by you, okay. So what happen? That is possible by the control and coordination present in our body, and control and coordination is achieved by the body or provided by two ways. Number one, nervous system, which nervous system connected with the muscular system, and secondly is the hormones, that is also called as the endocrine system. Hormones also provides our growth and development, because you know your growth and development firstly from the very baby to our defined stages, they are control and control, which is controlled by specific hormone present secreted by the pituitary gland. Suppose growth hormone, okay, your tendency goes immediate. Suppose something you food heavy, your tendency, how tendency goes? Because gastric hormone secreted by the gastric gland. So like that, several type of hormones controls your growth and development and another activities which are very essential for the life. And first in nervous system, nerves means specific some cells, sensory cells, which able to provide different type of feelings, different type of response. Okay, and also thinking, reasoning, everything. Okay, these are provided by our nervous system. Okay, so nervous system and hormones together, both in this chapter we will discuss. Okay, firstly about the nervous system. Nerves, nervous system. But the humans have a well-developed nervous system. Okay, well-developed nervous system which is consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Nervous, this one is a brain and spinal cord up to here. Brains, there as the nerve cells are present, millions of nerve cells, what happen we will see later on. These nerve cells are arranged in a white matter and gray matter. In a white matter, there into the millions of nerve cells you will able to see inside the brain. But that brain is well protected. Suppose this is the brain, this is firstly covered by the membrane which is called the meninges. After that, heart, skull, well protected because sensory, maximum all activities are done there. Okay, so well protected by the cranium. This is the cranium, heart cranium. After that, membrane having, which is called the meninges. Inner side of that, fluid having, cerebral fluid, which helps the which protect from different type of shock, injury, fluid having, fluid, double membrane of fluid, which is called the meninges. Inner side, so skull, then meninges, then inner side is able to see that there is a white matter, inner side gray matter having, where millions of neurons are present. Structural and functional unit of the nervous systems which provides our control and coordination. These are called as a neuron. One cell is called neuron. Their arrangement, they are arranged in different lobes in the brain. Their arrangement provides various actions, various functions. Their arrangement provides various functions. Depending on the arrangement, different parts named different. Okay, firstly up to here, largest part of the brain, here to here. Their arrangement, there are actually two parts of it, two cerebral hemispheres are not now today in high secondary they are vast form. So what happened here to here, those part having this part, larger part, it is called as the forebrain or cerebrum, forebrain up to here. That middle part is forebrain, then lower part, this part. Here you see this one, this is called as the hindbrain or cerebellum. And forebrain and hindbrain are get connected by middle part, it is called as the midbrain. Okay, brain has three parts, forebrains, midbrain and hindbrain. Midbrain connect both. Midbrain consists of later on crura cerebri optic lobes, and hindbrain consists of cerebellum, smaller cerebrum. That is the cerebrum of forebrain. Midbrain, hindbrain is called as the cerebellum. Okay, consists of cerebellum, medulla oblongata and pons varolii. The medulla oblongata and pons varolii. After that, it continues as a white rod-like structure. After that, up to here finish, then it is a white rod-like structure. It goes up to this point, coccygeal point of the vertebral column, lower part. That means it goes as a cord-like structure, which is called a spinal cord. After completion of the hindbrain, it looks like a cord-like structure and goes towards the hindbrain, goes from the hindbrain, it goes up to the end of the vertebral column, Inner side of the vertebral column, there is a hole, which is called the neural canal, through which the spinal cord goes up to the last part of the vertebral column, coccygeal region. Because spinal cord is well protected by the vertebral column. Inner side of the vertebra, it gradually goes towards the downwards and ends in the coccygeal vertebra. Okay, that means spinal cord also well protected by the vertebra or vertebral column, and brain also well protected by the skull. Okay, both are well protected. If you will not able to touch easily, not because they are well protected by the hard bone, hard skull and vertebral. It is a cord-like structure, and after that it has a special structure: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain is called as the cerebrum, then midbrain. Okay, optic lobes and crura cerebri, later on in class 10 no need so much. Then cerebellum, hindbrain consists of cerebellum, pons of medulla oblongata and pons varolii. In such a way, pons varolii swells up sometimes. After that it decreases its size, and as a cord-like structure it goes up to where? Up to the coccygeal region as a spinal cord. So brain and spinal cord together constitute our what? Nervous system. Now you know, actually nervous system is of three parts. Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. CNS means central nervous system, PNS means peripheral nervous system, ANS means autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system is consists of brain and spinal cord. These together it is called a brain and spinal cord, which are well protected, constitute the central nervous system. Peripheral, that means from the brain and spinal cord, you see spinal cord also some specific fiber arising. This fiber also consists of the nerve cell. Later on we'll go to the nerve cell structure. So whatever this fiber of nerve cell arising from the spinal cord, and like that brain also some fiber like structure of the arrangement of the neurons comes out. Those such like fiber or nerve, which are called as the nerves, nothing but the arrangement of the neuron cell, same cell, but these are arranged in a fiber line. Comes out from the brain, these are called as the spinal cranial nerve, and those nerves arising from the spinal cord, it is called as the spinal nerve. Brain arises those nerves, these are called as the cranial nerves, and spinal cord, those nerves arises and goes to the periphery. Brain, from the brain goes to the defined part up to here, neck, okay. Then after eyes, nose, vega, then tongue, okay, defined part from the brain, it comes out up to here. Then after the spinal cord to the comes out to defined body part. So those nerve arises from the brain called as the cranial nerve, and those nerve arises from the spinal cord, these are called the spinal nerve. Actually 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves arising from the brain in spinal. Okay, now you see these two nerves, two type of nerves, nerve arising from the brain, and that is cranial nerves, nerves arising from the spinal cord, that is spinal nerve, constitutes our peripheral nervous system. In our book, not details present, but you should know it. That's why later on you'll know in a verse form. What about peripheral nervous system? And thirdly, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, nothing but the, you see, in our body, inner side, if you see the inner side of the body, alimentary canal, you know, the body coelom having alimentary canal having, and alimentary canal, inner side body, alimentary canal having, and sidely, in this side, some, that is called the ganglia, that is nerves arrangement in a round form. Okay, so they have formed a ganglia. Both sides they are ganglia having such like arrangement. Round structure, some structure having, which are called as the ganglia, and from that round structures they are independent. They are not connected with the others. And from the ground, which are called as the ganglia, nerves arising from them to the different internal organs, and again comes back to that ganglia. So that ganglia looks like actually serves like a brain. That means nerves arising from them again come back. So what happens? Such type of ganglia and which nerves arising from them, which are not control our own will, totally independent. Nerves arising from that ganglia is called the sympathetic, and again comes from that organ to that ganglia is called parasympathetic nerves. Okay, sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves constitute our autonomic nervous system, which will not depend on our will. We can't do anything. Suppose your heartbeat, someone taking a heartbeat increasing, automatic sympathetic nerve increasing, again heart from again ganglia decreases to the normal. Will not depend on our will. So such type of nervous system is called as the autonomic nervous system. So three type of nervous system we have. We should know it. Not present in a book also, but you should know it. What? Central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. And autonomic nervous system, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves, which are autonomic, not depend on our will. Now you see, brains, those cells which provide the main function of the nervous system. What is thought? This is a cell structure. You see, there is a cell body, you know, like a hand, cell body, and two, there are small branches comes out, and upper part and lower part only one, which connects to the next one. Okay, you see, that is a cell body or cytosol. It's a cell, the nucleus present and cytoplasm present as a cell body, neuron. It is called as a cytoplasm. Is called as a neuroplasm. Cell body, each part is cell body, and this was fiber. Listen, short fibers are called as the dendron, and one long which goes to the downwards, that is called as the axon. A dendron, so short fibers, they carry the information, and after that it crossing to the axon, it goes to the next dendron. You see, this one connect to the next dendrites. This axon, it terminates, swells up, and after that it connects to the another neurons dendrons. You see, then again cell, again neuron, and finally if they attach to the muscle, this is the muscles, then it will, you see, last ending of the axon attached with the muscular membrane, neural muscle membrane, it get attached, you see. So such type of joint, such type of attachment, one ending of the axon to the next, one ending of the axon to the next, depending on that junction is called as a synapse. If neuron to neuron, then neuron to another dendron, then neuron dendron, that is another one junction, and this is called as a synapse. Another neuron to neuromuscular junction. Neuron ends to attach to the where? Muscle membrane. So that is called neuromuscular junction, and that is called as actually synapse. To joining point, synapse. Now what happens? How the neurons will able to provide information or impulse. That means what? It is what happens. You see, neurons arrangement different function different. Previously also told you. That is the neuron. Here those fiber having axon, axon sometimes it may be covered also, sometimes there is no any cover present. If cover present, that is called as the myelinated neuron. If cover not, actually covered, if covered present, then more faster than information carries. Actually covered neuron present generally in the brain. Others, that axon becomes there no any cover over the axon, non-myelinated but non-medullated neuron. So what will happen? Inner side here neuroplasm or a cytoplasm present inside the neuron is called the neuroplasm. This is present. Inner side of the axon also present that liquid, that is called as the exoplasm. And after that it ends like a fold, like in such a way it will be structured, finished axon. So what will happen? Inner side there exoplasm having, there is a one specific character which is called as the what? Ionic exchange. That means you see outer side of the axon, as this is inside the body fluid, their sodium ions are more, and inner side potassium ion. So when any type of impulse, suppose mosquito biting, okay, immediately what will happen? Inner side of the nerves, there sodium ion enters and potassium comes out. So positive negative ion effect, positive ion outside, inner side negative, positive negative, in such a way it will goes as a so fast that carry the information so fastly that to one fast, lastly if it attached to the muscle, okay, sometimes attached to the muscle, sometimes to the dendrons, and dendrons like to the brain, okay. Actually what happened before that, two type of nerve fibers having, when one by one joining goes to the brain from the sense organ. Sense organ, we have different type of sense organ, yes or no? Suppose skin those nerve one by one line forming the fiber goes to the brain. This is called a sensory nerve. That means sensory organ to the brain. And from the brain to effector organ muscle, there is another type of nerves. That is called motor nerve. Another function having, which are both functions, sensory and motor, that is called a mixed nerve. Three type of nerves: sensory, motor, and mixed. Sensory nerve from the sense of mosquito biting, through the sensory nerves it goes to the brain. Suppose in such a way positive negative ironing effect, which is called the impulse, so fast that, and also you see synapse also there is another chemical that is called the acetylcholine, one neurotransmitter having, which carry the signal from one to the next. So thus it helps in the synapse. So in so fastly it goes to the, suppose it is not attached to the muscle, it is attached to the brain. So it is a sensory nerve. Then what will happen? From sense organ skin to it carry to the brain. So brain will decide then mosquito biting, feeling pain, so immediately you should kill it. So brain by the another nerve fiber such like by it will attach to the muscle, motor nerve. Motor nerve gives information that muscle should contract. If that gives information to the muscle will contract your hand, kill the mosquito. Example. So sensory nerves and motor nerves which attach to the muscles, and mixed nerve they are having both their function, sensory and motor. So what are these are the function of the nerve fibers. Now you see there are three parts having: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, their different functions. Forebrain, what function? That is the main thinking part of the brain. That means thinking part of the brain, forebrain, cerebrum. What are the their sensation like the seeing, hearing. If sometimes if you see, then what you should do decide by the brain. Okay? Hearing, sometimes hearing, suppose sound of the dangerous, you should run away. So like that hearing, okay, eating, vomiting, everything is controlled by the forebrain. Okay, midbrain what happened? It is also motor, actually voluntary and involuntary means our will. Involuntary means it does not depend our will, automatically going. Midbrain actually function both voluntary and involuntary, but motor movement like that. Suppose your midbrain function is what? Your little eye movement. Eye here, eye movement, muscular movement is controlled by the motor part. That means midbrain. Midbrain control this one, eye movement. Okay, here, okay, eye movement, hearing, temperature regulation, and temperature regulation. All these are controlled by the midbrain. And midbrain another function previously also told you, it kind of joins the forebrain with the hindbrain. It joins the forebrain with the hindbrain. That is also its function. Okay. And also what? It functions as the movement of the eye, hearing, temperature regulation, etc. The midbrain function. And lastly, the hindbrain function is what? Hindbrain function, previously also told you, is lastly, it is a small cerebrum like. What is present? Cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and pons viridis. What is the function of that? What happens? You see, hindbrain control what? It controls the blood pressure. It controls the vomiting. It controls the salivation. Okay, saliva, something. These are also, and also involuntary action. Involuntary actions are also controlled by the hindbrain. What? Because suppose your gesture, your posture, your riding bicycle, all these are actually controlled by the hindbrain. Okay, because these are actually maximum control. Some are controlled by the medulla part, some are controlled by the cerebellum part, and some are controlled by the pons part. Three together it is hindbrain, and they are able to perform different functions: gesture, posture, riding bicycles, okay, vomiting, blood pressure, everything is maximum controlled by the hindbrain. So these are about our nervous systems, okay, brain and spinal cords and nerves arising from them. Nerves function for conduction of nerve impulse. Impulse means sodium, potassium, and those positive, negative effect. So fast, some mosquito biting, so fast you will able to know why. That is the sodium, potassium ionic movement. Ions moves in the form of impulse. That is called as the impulse. So fast you get the information, that is the impulse. Okay, and brains will decide what you should do. Okay, so that is about our nervous system. After that, in the next session too, sometimes what will happen, without the involvement of the brain also, emergency action going on. That is called the reflex action. So reflex action and hormones we'll discuss in the session 2 in the next session. Okay, thank you.